Speaking of caves,
Yeah.
do you guys want to hear about the Bigfoot War of 1855?
What? Yes. 1855?
The Bigfoot War of 1855.
Where did this happen?
This happened in eastern Oklahoma.
Nice.
Okay. I got this information from a YouTube channel called Forgotten History.
Mm-hmm.
Love that channel.
Yeah.
What's so funny about this channel, though, is that everything that I've ever watched from them, they always do American history, like presidents, like the most corrupt presidents, all this stuff. Very rich with facts and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a new guy on it now, and he's doing all the cryptid stuff. So he's doing like the Thunderbird, the Bigfoot, all this crazy stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is fun.
Mm-hmm.
But the Bigfoot War of 1855, also known as the Four-County Bigfoot War, took place in eastern Oklahoma. And it started with the Choctaw Native Americans and the farmers in this region of Oklahoma. They noticed that a lot of food and supplies were missing from their camps, from their homes, from their farms. And so they would set out guards and traps for whatever was taking their stuff. Always eluded the traps, always eluded the guards. And so they're like, what in the world is taking our stuff? And they didn't think much of it, but it continued to get worse and worse and worse until women and children started being kidnapped. And it got to a point to where there were so many women and children missing from both the farmers and the Choctaw Native Americans. I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah. You are.
Choctaw.
Yeah.
That the Choctaws set up a hunting party to go catch whoever's kidnapping their women and children. And it was led by a man named Joshua LaFleur, who was half Choctaw, half French. And he was very well respected within the farming community and the Choctaw community. And so he led this party. But with this party, there was a Choctaw warrior. His name was Hamas Tubby, which is
awesome.
Very interesting.
Hamas Tubby.
Hamas Tubby. But him and his 6 sons, and this is what's crazy about this, going back to the Nephilim, stuff like that. Hamas Tubby and his 6 sons were all over 7 feet tall.
Hold on.
And they weighed 300 pounds or more. And their hunting party was all on horseback, but the Tubby party, I know, I wish they had a different name.
That's what I'm going to call my birthday this year.
I don't
Just
wish.
They.
Their party, they're all on horseback, but the Tubby, Hamas Tubby and his sons were so well renowned on horseback that the lore they're called the light horsemen because they were such good warriors on horseback, even with their stature and size.
That's awesome.
And so they they rode for a full day to this forest in eastern Oklahoma. And Joshua LaFleur pulled out his little spyglass thing, stood up on his reins, and looked and saw, it's not reported, but he saw something, and he ordered the entire hunting party to charge. So they charged into the woods, and they came into an opening where the smell was of just complete death.
Oh, no.
And they saw these creatures. They describe them as ape-like creatures scurry into the woods. And trigger warning, everyone.
Everyone was dead.
There was body parts everywhere. And it just reeked of death. But they said all these creatures, these giant creatures that stood 8+ feet tall, hairy, 3 of them stayed behind. And they attacked the hunting party. And so it went back and forth. The Choctaw and the Bigfoot creatures were fighting each other.
Jeez.
And these Bigfoot creatures were so powerful that they swung, and I think it was Hamas Tubby's horse that they hit in the face, instantly killed the horse, broke its neck. And then Joshua LaFleur ran up. Again, trigger warning. He ran up, and this Bigfoot creature grabbed his neck and instantly ripped his head off of his body.
Oh, my God. Where's the movie for this?
Dude, what?
We need this movie.
Yeah. But ultimately, the Choctaw warriors were able to defeat these 3 Bigfoot creatures.
Yeah.
And then they came back and they reported it. And of course, who's going to believe this? And so now it's kind of like a lore of just like, oh yeah, they said this is what happened, but we don't believe it.
Yeah.
And we know the past of Native Americans versus the colonialists or whatever.
Yeah.
We always tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
We're always the good guys too, right?
Yes.
But there's multiple stories with different Native American tribes that add to this story of Bigfoot-like creatures coming in and stealing women and children.
Why women and children?
I don't know.
The tastiest.
This one's a little, it's probably PG-13, but one Native American tribe they talked about, which is very interesting actually, because it aligns a lot with the Israelites during the Old Testament of the laws, when a woman was going through that time of the month, they were sent to the edge of camp in a way because they were considered unclean.
Yeah.
And they noticed that a lot of these Bigfoot creatures would come and take the women during that.
Interesting.
Very old school.
Yeah. Also, you could say very biblical in the sense of that's what the Israelites did.
Some would say primitive.
Okay. Well, God commanded it. So
The good old days, you know what I'm saying? Okay.
I'm trying to remember when Luke was talking from Blurry Creatures. He was talking about Native American tribes having Bigfoots on their totems. I'm trying to remember what tribes those were, but I can't find anything in my 15-second Google.
But I thought
like,
that was
why haven't-
crazy. And I've never heard that story.
Yeah.
And it's called the Bigfoot War of 1855 or the 4-County Bigfoot War.
4-County Bigfoot War.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I wonder
Dude, that
exactly
would be
where it's at.
such an epic film.
It would
It would
be
be
an
so
epic
good.
film.
You do
Yeah.
like the Native American history ride, the cowboy, like, dude, that would be such a
And
good
you just
Yeah.
you do a reveal like signs where the whole time you think it's you know,
it's like bad cowboys or like
Yeah,
bandits
and
or
they think the other is actually doing it.
Yeah.
And then there's a moment where you're like,
or if like the
Relationships get
cowboys and the
tumultuous.
Native Americans like met up at the same time and it's just like Bigfoot.
Yeah. You show the story of them like them trying to figure out who's
Yeah.
stealing, and they think it's the cowboys.
Yeah,
and they
yeah,
find,
yeah.
dude, and it's just the Bigfoot's like dropping cowboy hats in the Native American camps, just like to set, like, get them off
Because
the
it
trail.
said that they were smart. They could elude the traps and
Yeah.
the guards and like
yeah. And who's to say they can't just pin it on someone else?
Do you think
Crazy.
A24 would ever pick that up?
I hope so.
that would be crazy. But speaking of the Bigfoot wars, did you know that? I forgot to say
what is that right
that.
there?
We got it. Don't go anywhere.